In Sarasota, Florida, a case has emerged that has left many questioning the limits of trust within a family. A stepmother, a registered nurse, was arrested after being accused of engaging in sexual acts with her 15-year-old stepson. The incident has not only shattered a family, but also raised difficult questions about boundaries, vulnerability, and the impact of modern life on relationships. Sterling Thorne, a construction professional, and his wife Ilara had a marriage that, on the surface, seemed stable. However, long hours at work and frequent absences left Ilara isolated. Into this strained household came Kalen, Sterling's teenage son from a previous marriage, navigating the challenges of adolescence and a complicated family dynamic. One evening, during a storm that matched the tension inside the home, a moment of vulnerability between Ilara and Kalen crossed a line that should never have been approached. What began as a simple gesture of comfort escalated into something far more serious, leading to Ilara's arrest and the collapse of the family unit. This story is not just about a crime, it's about the complex emotions and circumstances that can lead to devastating choices. It raises questions about loneliness, the influence of digital media, and the blurred lines that can emerge when people are pushed to their limits. Before we go deeper into this case, I want to welcome you to Altar of Secrets, where we explore true crime stories of love, betrayal, and the consequences that follow. Shout out to our loyal subscribers and return viewers. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss our daily updates. And if you find this story compelling, don't forget to like and share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us where you're watching from today. We love to know how far this video have traveled. Stay with us as we uncover the details behind this troubling case and the lessons it holds for all of us. The Thorne family lived in Sarasota, Florida, a community known for its quiet neighborhoods and family-oriented lifestyle. Sterling Thorne was a man dedicated to his work in construction, often spending long hours managing large projects across the state. His wife, Ilara, worked as a registered nurse, a profession that demanded both skill and compassion. On the surface, their life appeared normal, even stable. Yet beneath this calm exterior, the family faced challenges that would soon come to light. Sterling's job required frequent travel, sometimes keeping him away from home for days or weeks. These absences left Ilara alone for extended periods. While many might find comfort in solitude, for Ilara, the quiet became a source of growing isolation. The demands of her nursing career, combined with the lack of emotional support at home, created a sense of loneliness that she struggled to manage. Adding to the complexity was Kalen, Sterling's 15-year-old son from a previous marriage. Kalen was a reserved teenager, navigating the difficult transition from childhood to adulthood. His life was split between two households, a situation that often left him feeling unsettled and disconnected. Like many teens, he found refuge in video games and social media, spending hours immersed in digital worlds that offered distraction and escape. Ilara's attempts to build a relationship with Kalen were met with limited success. Despite her professional experience caring for others, she found it difficult to connect with a boy who was guarded and distant. The emotional distance between them grew, leaving Ilara feeling more like an outsider than a stepmother. The household atmosphere was marked by quiet tension. Sterling's absence meant Ilara was left to manage the home largely on her own. The lack of communication between the adults and the emotional withdrawal of Kalen created an environment where misunderstandings could easily take root. Experts note that family dynamics like these, where one parent is frequently absent and the other struggles with isolation, can create vulnerabilities for everyone involved. Adolescents in such situations often face emotional challenges that affect their behavior and decision-making. Meanwhile, adults experiencing loneliness may seek connection in ways that are not always healthy or appropriate. In this case, the combination of Ilara's growing isolation and Kalen's adolescent uncertainty set the stage for a tragic crossing of boundaries. The family's struggles were not visible to neighbors or friends, but the pressures inside the home were building quietly, waiting for a moment to surface. As we continue, we will explore how these personal challenges, combined with external influences, contributed to the events that followed. Understanding the background is essential to grasp the full picture of what unfolded in the Thorne household. On a humid evening in Sarasota, the weather outside was restless, with heavy rain and distant thunder filling the air. Inside the Thorne household, the atmosphere was quiet but tense. Sterling Thorne was away on a work trip, leaving Alara and Kaylin alone in the house. What followed that night would change their lives forever. Alara had been feeling increasingly isolated in recent months. The long stretches without Sterling's presence had left her searching for comfort in ways she hadn't anticipated. That evening, she sat alone in the living room, the soft glow of her tablet illuminating her face as she scrolled through various online spaces. The loneliness she carried was heavy, and she found herself drawn to content that offered a sense of connection, even if it was only virtual. Kaylin, meanwhile, had just paused his video game. The 15-year-old was used to retreating into digital worlds where the challenges of his real life could be momentarily forgotten. He stepped into the living room, noticing Alara's quiet state. What happened next was a brief exchange that would soon take a dark turn. Alara spoke softly, her voice revealing a vulnerability she rarely showed. She admitted to feeling a deep, unmet desire, a frustration that had been building in her absence of emotional and physical intimacy. Kaylin, caught off guard, responded instinctively with a gesture meant to comfort, a hug. It was a simple act, one that in any healthy family might have been just that. But in this case, the boundaries between adult and child began to blur. Alara whispered words that suggested a wish for Kaylin to be older, a statement that carried a weight far beyond its surface. For Kaylin, whose understanding of adult relationships had been shaped largely by online exposure, this was confusing. His adolescent mind struggled to interpret the meaning behind her words. What followed was a gradual progression. The hug shifted into tentative kisses, and then into more intimate contact. According to the police affidavit, the acts included oral sex and full penetration. The report made clear that the interaction was not forced, but the law is unequivocal. A minor cannot legally consent to sexual activity with an adult. The next morning, Sterling returned home unexpectedly. What he found was a scene that shattered the fragile balance of the family. Alara and Kaylin were discovered in a compromising state. Their actions exposing the breach of trust and the serious legal consequences that would follow. Neighbors, alerted by unusual noises and activity, contacted the authorities. Police arrived swiftly, and Alara was taken into custody on charges of sexual battery. Her nursing license was suspended immediately, and the community was left grappling with the shock of the incident. Kaylin was removed from the home and placed with his mother, his summer break ending in turmoil. The psychological impact on the teenager was profound, as he faced the reality of what had occurred and the complicated emotions that came with it. This incident is a stark reminder of how quickly trust can be broken, and how vulnerable individuals can be caught in situations that have lasting consequences. It also highlights the importance of understanding the legal protections in place for minors and the responsibilities adults have in maintaining clear boundaries. As we move forward, we will examine the deeper factors that contributed to this event, including the emotional states of those involved and the role of external influences. But first, take a moment to reflect. What would you do if faced with a situation where trust and boundaries were tested in such a way? If you're following this story closely, please take a moment to like this video if you haven't, and share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. Your engagement helps us bring more stories like this to light. Understanding the events that unfolded in the Thorne household requires looking beyond the immediate facts. The emotional and social factors surrounding Alara and Kaylin played a significant role in shaping the situation. Both individuals were navigating difficult personal challenges that influenced their actions and decisions. Alara's emotional state before the incident was marked by a growing sense of isolation. Her marriage to Sterling had changed over time. While once close, the couple had drifted apart, largely due to Sterling's demanding career that kept him away from home for long stretches. This left Alara alone to manage the household and her own feelings of loneliness. Experts in mental health emphasize that prolonged emotional isolation can affect judgment and increase vulnerability to risky behavior. Alara's professional life as a nurse required empathy and care, yet her personal life lacked the emotional support she needed. The absence of intimacy and connection created a void that she struggled to fill. This emotional gap led her to seek comfort in online spaces, where the boundaries between reality and fantasy can become unclear. The internet, with its vast and often unfiltered content, can sometimes offer a false sense of connection, which may distort perceptions of appropriate behavior. Kaylin, on the other hand, was at a critical stage of development. Adolescence is a time of significant change, both physically and emotionally. For Kaylin, these changes were complicated by the instability of living between two households and the challenges of adjusting to a blended family. Research shows that teenagers in such situations often experience feelings of confusion, insecurity, and detachment. His retreat into video games and social media was a common coping mechanism. These digital environments provided a way to escape the complexities of his real life. However, exposure to unfiltered online content can also shape a young person's understanding of relationships and boundaries in ways that are not always healthy. Studies indicate that repeated exposure to explicit material can desensitize adolescents, making it harder for them to recognize inappropriate behavior or understand consent fully. The interaction between Alara and Kaylin was influenced by these overlapping vulnerabilities. Alara's loneliness and emotional needs intersected with Kaylin's adolescent confusion and digital exposure. When Alara expressed her feelings of frustration and desire, Kaylin's response was shaped by a mixture of instinct and a distorted understanding of adult relationships. This situation highlights the complex role that digital media plays in modern family dynamics. While technology can offer connection and information, it can also blur the lines between healthy and unhealthy interactions. The concept of hyperreality helps explain how individuals may struggle to distinguish between real emotions and simulated experiences online. For Kaylin, this meant interpreting Alara's words through a lens shaped by online content that often misrepresents intimacy and consent. Experts warn that without proper guidance and open communication, young people can become vulnerable to misunderstandings that have serious consequences. Families facing challenges like those of the Thorns need support systems that address both emotional needs and digital literacy. This case also raises important questions about adult responsibility. As a caregiver and professional, Alara had a duty to maintain clear boundaries. Her failure to do so not only broke the law, but also caused lasting harm to a young person in her care. Reflecting on these factors, it becomes clear that the tragedy was not simply the result of one moment, but a combination of emotional struggles, family dynamics, and external influences. Recognizing these elements is crucial for preventing similar situations in other families. Before we continue, I want to ask you, how do you think digital media affects family relationships today? Have you seen examples where online exposure has influenced behavior in unexpected ways? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The discovery of the incident in the Thorn household set off a series of events that would have lasting effects on everyone involved. When Sterling returned home unexpectedly and found Alara and Kaylin in a compromising situation, the reality of the situation became undeniable. The trust that once held the family together was broken, and the legal system quickly became involved. Alara was arrested and charged with sexual battery, a serious offense under Florida law. The charge reflects the legal principle that a minor cannot consent to sexual activity with an adult, regardless of any apparent willingness. This law exists to protect young people from exploitation and abuse, recognizing their vulnerability and the power imbalance in such relationships. Following her arrest, Alara's professional life faced immediate consequences. Her nursing license was suspended, and after a formal review, it was permanently revoked. This loss not only ended her career, but also served as a public acknowledgement of the severity of her actions. The nursing profession holds strict ethical standards, and violations of this nature are met with decisive action to protect the public. Sterling filed for divorce shortly after the incident became known. The breakdown of the marriage was swift and final, reflecting the deep breach of trust and the emotional toll on all parties. For Sterling, the shock of the discovery was compounded by the need to navigate the legal and emotional challenges that followed. Kaylin was removed from the home and placed with his biological mother. The psychological impact on him was significant. Experts emphasize that victims of such abuse often face long-term emotional and mental health challenges, including trauma, trust issues, and difficulties in forming healthy relationships later in life. Support services and counseling are critical in helping survivors begin the healing process. Beyond the immediate family, the case sparked conversations within the community about child protection and the responsibilities of adults in caregiving roles. It highlighted the importance of clear boundaries and the need for vigilance in recognizing signs of abuse. The role of digital media also came under scrutiny. The exposure of both Alara and Keelan to explicit online content was seen as a contributing factor in the breakdown of boundaries. This raised broader questions about how families and society can better educate young people about healthy relationships and consent in an age dominated by digital communication. Legal experts point out that cases like this underscore the need for ongoing public awareness campaigns and stronger support systems for families facing similar challenges. Prevention efforts must include education on digital literacy, emotional health, and the importance of maintaining appropriate relationships within families. As this story shows, the consequences of boundary violations extend far beyond legal penalties. They affect careers, relationships, and the emotional well-being of everyone involved. The ripple effects can last for years, making prevention and early intervention essential. Before we move on, I want to hear from you. What do you think are the most important steps communities can take to protect vulnerable individuals and support families? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The story of the Thorne family is a difficult one, but it offers important insights that can help others avoid similar pain. At its core, this case reminds us of the vital importance of clear boundaries within families. When those boundaries are ignored or crossed, the consequences can be devastating for everyone involved. One key lesson is the need for open communication. Families facing challenges, whether emotional distance or blended household dynamics, benefit greatly from honest conversations. These discussions can help prevent misunderstandings and provide support before problems escalate. It's essential that both adults and children feel safe expressing their feelings and concerns. Another important takeaway is the impact of loneliness and emotional isolation. Alara's experience shows how unmet emotional and physical needs can lead to risky decisions. Recognizing these feelings early and seeking healthy outlets or professional help can make a significant difference. No one should have to face such struggles alone. The role of digital media also stands out as a critical factor. Both Alara and Kaylin were influenced by the content they encountered online, which shaped their perceptions of intimacy and consent. This highlights the urgent need for digital literacy education, especially for young people. Teaching children and teens how to navigate online spaces safely and critically is essential in today's world. Adults, especially those in caregiving roles, must understand the responsibility they carry. Maintaining appropriate boundaries is not just a legal obligation, but a moral one. The trust placed in adults by children and families demands respect and care at all times. Finally, this case underscores the importance of community support and resources. Families dealing with emotional or relational difficulties should have access to counseling, education, and guidance. Early intervention can prevent situations from escalating into harm. As we reflect on this story, I invite you to think about what lessons stand out most to you. What could have been done differently to protect everyone involved? What signs might have been missed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective matters. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Altar of Secrets. Your support helps us continue to bring real stories that reveal the complexities of human relationships and the consequences of crossing lines. Until next time, remember that every choice shapes the path we walk, and true strength lies in protecting the bonds that hold us together. Guard your boundaries, cherish your connections, and let wisdom guide your way. Stay safe, stay aware, and thank you for joining us today. See you on another story from the Altar of Secrets. Bye for now.